Hey folks, Hal Shurtleff here with Camp Constitution, and we are in front of the Old Granary Burial Ground in downtown Boston on Tremont Street, and we're going to be paying a visit to this historic spot. In this graveyard are buried three signers of the Declaration of Independence, governors of Massachusetts, Paul Revere, the victims of the Boston Massacre, and many others. And the archway here was designed by Samuel Willard, who also designed the Bunker Hill Monument. Here is the remains of James Otis, orator and patriot of the Revolution, famous for his argument against the writs of assistance. He was born in Cape Cod at Barnstable, 1725, died in 1783. And he gave a famous speech February 5th, 1761. It lasted about 5 hours, and it was against what was known as the writs of assistance, where any British officer or official can walk into anybody's home or business anytime without any provocation, without any documents or things of that nature. And John Adams was one of the men that was on hand to hear that, and he said, "The child independence was then and there born. Every man of an immense crowded audience appeared to me to go away as I did, ready to take arms against writs of assistance." He served at the Battle of Bunker Hill. He was assaulted at some point, I think in the late 1660s, and was not always of sound mind. His character is depicted in the Disney movie Johnny Tremaine, and I think they did an accurate depiction of him. But he did serve at Bunker Hill. He actually borrowed his neighbor's musket and marched to Bunker Hill, fought in the battle, and then went back home just like it was a day at the office. He predicted that God would take him by a bolt of lightning, and sure enough, that's how he died. He was struck by lightning. His sister, Mercy Otis Warren, became quite the famous historian, and she wrote one of the earliest accounts of the Revolutionary War. Here lie the remains of John Molyneux, one of the participants in the Boston Tea Party. And during the reenactment of the Boston Tea Party, someone represents his character, and he was, of course, a member of the Sons of Liberty. And here is the gravesite and a marker for John Hancock, one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence that are buried here. There were three signers buried here. He was governor of Massachusetts. He was also at the Massachusetts Convention that ratified the U.S. Constitution. And here lies the remains of Paul Revere, born in January 1734 and died in May of 1818. His Paul Revere company is still in business. It's now in central New York. He, of course, was mostly noted for his famous midnight ride, but he was also one of the Tea Party participants, and there's a little marker to commemorate that. And he fathered something like 14 or 15 children, and they all survived childhood. So there are a lot of Revere descendants out there today. And for folks who have served in the Coast Guard or are serving in the Coast Guard, this name would probably be familiar to you. John Foster Williams, born 1743, died 1814. The first master of the U.S. Revenue Cutter, Massachusetts. The Revenue Cutter Service is the forerunner of the United States Coast Guard. Captain Williams was the commander of the first authorized ship. And here is the gravesite of Robert Treat Paine, who was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. He was also Massachusetts' first Attorney General and served as a judge. And born in 1731 and died in 1814. He lived in Taunton, Massachusetts, and in the Taunton Town Green there is a statue of him. And here's the gravesite of Samuel Adams, signer of the Declaration of Independence, governor of this Commonwealth, a leader of men, and an ardent patriot. He, along with John Hancock, were in Lexington during the Battle of Concord, Lexington. He was also a brewer, and there's a Sam Adams Brewery, which is known to many people today. And right next to Sam Adams' gravesite is the final resting place of the victims of the Boston Massacre, which took place March 5th, 1770. Samuel Gray, Samuel Maverick, James Caldwell, Crispus Attucks, and Patrick Carr. Crispus Attucks is the most well-known of the five men. He was a man of color, of black and Indian descent. And also is buried here is a 11 or 12-year-old boy by the name of Christopher Snyder, who was killed by the British about a week earlier. And here in the center of the cemetery is the grave of the parents of Benjamin Franklin, Josiah and Abiah. Hope I'm pronouncing her name right. And Benjamin was born really close by, just a block or two away. There's a statue of the site. The original house is gone. And he left here in 1723 after having an argument with his brother and didn't look back. So this cemetery is open year-round, and during the warmer weather they have people dressed up in colonial attire doing little tours. And I do remember as a young man coming in here, and there were people that would do grave rubbings, and of course that deteriorated the stones, and some of them are unreadable, but there are records of pretty much everybody here. And with that, we want to thank you for watching, and we encourage you to subscribe to our channel to find other little videos of this nature. And to learn more about us, please visit our website, campconstitution.net.